January 2020, tremendous efforts and sacrifices were made in China and globally to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. The Palace Museum was closed for over 3 months, starting from January 25.
During the lockdown, we received a lot of online messages from our audiences, demanding for more content than ever before. Since we have always been diligently exploring how digital technologies and online services help to meet such demand, we were able to plan and deploy this online platform entitled Visiting the Palace Museum on the Cloud.
Visiting the Palace Museum on the Cloud offers comprehensive online omnimedia services available cross-platform on your mobile phone, desktop, and tablet. Before the pandemic, the Palace Museum received over 19 million visitors in 2019 during the temporary closure, and when it reopened with a strictly enforced daily quota. Visiting the Palace Museum on the Cloud served over 30 million users, exceeding the annual number of our on-site visitors.
We capture high-resolution 360-degree panoramic images of the heritage architectural complex, place by place, from comfortable roaming perspectives.
In addition, we also created a more immersive interactive experience with virtual reality technology, bringing the exploration of the Forbidden City to a higher level, transcending on-site experiences.
为了满足观众们参观的强烈需求，配合我们信息中心呢做了一个视频的一个讲解，让大家呢虽然不能进到故宫来，但是能看到我们精彩的展览。
As of August 2021, we have released more than 30 episodes with about 11.6 million views. These exhibitions are also available online with images and labels of the exhibits, as well as virtual tours of the galleries.
With visiting the Palace Museum on the Cloud, more than 68,000 high-resolution collection images are available, and you can zoom in as much as you like to the tiniest details on these ancient painting masterpieces.
On 5 Oxen, how many eyelashes does an ox has? Go ahead and count it. It is impossible to do, even if you were in gallery, in front of the actual painting.
We also documented 3-dimensional data of over 100 objects, turning them into extremely precise 3-dimensional models, highly faithful to the original objects. All this digital content is constantly updated.
A wide range of journals and articles are available here, completely free of charge.
The Palace Museum Forum is a series of public lectures with a long tradition. Till today, we have released 27 episodes online, attracting over 5 million views.
Visiting the Palace Museum on the Cloud is structured within the framework of the museum's official website. It has also been endorsed and promoted by many prominent national and international media and organizations. We also brought visiting the Palace Museum on the Cloud to the 2021 China International Fair for Trade in Services, reaching out to a broad spectrum of audiences and receiving many positive reviews. Visiting the Palace Museum on the Cloud integrates a full range of digital assets, encompassing architecture, collection,
welcome to this interview for the Best in Heritage Imagine program. And let's start with asking you to please briefly describe your museum.
Okay. The Palace Museum is the most prestigious cultural heritage institution in China. It is state-owned with over 1.8 million objects in its collection, most of which were inherited from the imperial collections of the Qing dynasty when its rules ended in the earlier 20th century. So the collection easily represents the epitome of traditional Chinese art and craftsmanship. I think it's also worth mentioning that the museum is located on the site of the Forbidden City, the imperial palace of China's lost dynasties. It is probably Beijing's most recognizable landmark and has been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since I think it's 1987. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. So let's talk about your project and that won an award. So what was the history of that project and how did it come into being and what were you trying to do?
So when COVID-19 hit in 2020 and the Palace Museum closed also for months, so we wanted a way to stay true to our mission and the vision. The online platform has become almost the only channel for the museum to fulfill our objectives to reach and serve the public and community during the lockdown. So over the past 20 years, the museum has been dedicated to making our cultural treasures and resources as accessible as possible through generations of digital technologies. So this platform allowed us to step up our efforts, optimizing the results of decades of this kind of work and share them with our audiences in a systematic manner during this crisis. So the overreaching aim of the project is to find a way to continue achieving our purpose as a museum when we couldn't open our physical space for the visitors. So after much consideration of our goals and duties, we created this kind of omni-media platform to virtually open access to the museum's digital content. So this project was born out of this kind of necessity. But for us, it was also an opportunity to re-examine our aims and objectives and how we can best fulfill them for the diverse groups we serve. It's allowed us to optimize and improve the ways we provide resources and content for all.
So you won an award. You won the Avicom Festival of Audiovisual and Innovative Museum Media Productions Award. And what do you think led to that happening? What were the qualities of your work that impressed the judges?
Yeah, I think the comprehensive and the innovative approach of this kind of digital project really impressed the Avicom jury. This is what we believe. Instead of limiting itself to any single type of content or audience, I mean, in the past decade, we've done quite a lot of digital projects. But this project mobilized and integrated all of our museum's digital content into one platform. This pioneering effort allowed us to optimize our digital resources and the channels. So previously, they were isolated and quite fragmented. By reorganizing everything, we built a foundation for optimizing the kind of like user experience we wanted. Actually, by 2020, we integrated it all into an official WeChat mini program, pioneering a customized entrance to all our digital offerings tailored for this kind of data-driven era. We promoted this content across our digital channels, our website, social media, short video programs, and we even got a chance to promote it on the UNESCO's website. So our digital team's efforts in consolidating those channels allowed us to reach new audiences unfamiliar with our museum before. We gained a very valuable insight into audience needs through analyzing user behavior data across channels. So this helped us improve our content strategy and the priorities for resource development to match different kind of user preferences. So I think in summary, we believe our innovative approach to optimizing the digital services and touch points and pioneering a customized integrated access, tailored multi-channel outreach, and the pursuit of excellence in presenting cultural heritage impressed the Avicom jury. Streamlining our digital offerings also allow us to revamp the user experience in a user-centric and a very impactful manner.
Thank you. Yes, I recognize many of those factors just from exploring the content myself. And I especially found the virtual tours to be really stunning. And I was impressed how comprehensively they represent the Palace and your exhibitions and other initiatives. And I know it's just one factor of the many kinds of digital pieces that you've produced. But I also know that many museums struggle to produce high quality 360-degree imagery to such a high standard. So how do you manage such a level of production at the Palace Museum?
Yeah, well, we are very delighted that you enjoyed exploring those virtual tours. And our heritage architecture and the collection, as I mentioned before, represent the best of traditional culture. So in creating the virtual tours and other content for visiting the Palace Museum on the cloud, our aim is to recreate the ultimate beauty of this kind of architecture and artifacts with the highest quality. That is like the basic principle for it. And for the virtual tours, we started systematically capturing this kind of 360-degree imagery of the Forbidden City's architecture about 7 or 8 years ago. At first, it was intended as a means for our online users to explore, say, the genius loci or the spirit of the grand kind of space as empty, tranquil, and majestic as it was built and intended to be. But nowadays, it is usually crowded with visitors. So such an atmosphere could be lost to many of our visitors. It was developed at a time when the means and the tools to capture and present such kind of virtual tours has become very mature here. So as a result, we can open special exhibitions on site and put our virtual tour like of the galleries out online at pretty much the same time. So around 2018, Zhu Kai, the project manager for the panoramic tour, the virtual tour now, he took over. He had trained as an art photographer professionally. So he didn't just stick to the old rules for keeping up basic image quality, but he came up with a whole set of new rules and principles based on imaging science that seriously improved how good the virtual tours look. So, and on the other side, he also introduced the dimension of time into the platform. So first, he took a panoramic shot of the same places in different seasons and under different weather conditions. Then he worked in all the photos of those locations from the late 18th century, late 19th century to early 20th centuries. And now we are very happy to announce that actually we have a multi-language version of the virtual tours on the way. It will be hopefully released in late July or early August. So therefore, in a sense, the virtual tours you explored come from generations of project managers who build upon previous efforts with their passion and sort of very, very dedicated expertise.
It's fantastic. So you've spoken a little bit already about the kind of data-driven nature of your work and some of the analysis that you've undertaken. And so since moving the Palace Museum to the cloud, what have you come to understand about the audiences that you attract and the way they interact that maybe you didn't understand before? Or has anything been a big surprise to you since this project went live?
Well, since we moved the Palace Museum to the cloud, as you mentioned, we've realized that our virtual visitors are as diverse, or say even more diverse as our on-site visitors. we attract everyone from curious, very, very curious foreigners who just want to see what this like Forbidden City they heard so much about is really like, to say art historians researching symbolism, iconography in Northern Song paintings and their connection to its political tradition. So some of them just take a very quick virtual tour out of curiosity, but the others comes with very, very specialized or nuanced questions. We aim to create content broad and deep enough to trying to satisfy them as much as humanly possible. So our platform, with this focus on, say, themed architecture, artifacts, or like comics or academic papers, etc., is designed to let different visitors find what they need fast. Given our reputation, having such a range of interests isn't shocking, but the diversity of people intrigued by the Forbidden City and how much some visitors know never stops amazing us. So promoting online, we surprisingly reached people in far corners of the world who barely knew us before. For example, Easter Island, like 2 people, something like that. Yeah, seeing how excited or passionate they got about our collections was really inspiring. And the feedback we received from users was very, very helpful too. It showed how much people want to open access to digital content, to culture, and they are very, very eager to engage with us. So when we talk to them and trying to improve our platform based on their feedbacks, we have a like even deeper sense of what people need and how we can serve museum goers everywhere, not just in China. So our goal is sharing China's cultural heritage openly and making it available to everyone.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much for that answer. That's amazing. So finally, now that real life visiting has been returning to Palace Museum, how do you think digital will evolve? What lessons from your work will inform future developments?
Yeah, I think even though people can visit museums again in person, actually the Palace Museum become as crowded as ever before. But the faster creation and availability of digital resources that happened during the pandemic will keep going, I believe. And in China specifically, how museums go digital has reached a whole new level in the past 1 or 2 years. We now live in an age of big data, and putting together digital resources for this project has made us think about how we can, say, eventually combine separate digital projects in a way that works together so that we can give users an experience that is more like joined up or seamless. From the museum's point of view, planning how data is structured and bringing it all together is also an important way to make sure that we can keep providing services based on the digital resources we've built up over the years. So providing on-demand access is I think it's a long-term vision. So and also a mission for the museum. The one that is safe to say that needs our constantly improving and refining. So while we keep gathering more digital resources and the content, we believe that with new technologies like, say, large language models, which have got a lot of interest since the beginning of this year, we'll be able to keep making how we provide content and access to it even more open and optimized.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for a fascinating and wonderful interview. And
thank you.
It's been really a great experience to discuss this with you, and especially also to explore the virtual offerings that you created. And
thank you so much. Actually, I mentioned because you asked very, very good questions, I think. Actually, I mentioned because I'm in the meeting room of our collection digitization team, and also the photographer I mentioned as a project manager for the virtual tours are in the same office. So actually, I mentioned to him that some person brought up about the virtual tours, they really like it, and he is really, really happy to know that.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. Brilliant. So yeah, fantastic.